and we talk about something else besides him, we do okay. Oh, buddy, you are so wrong. Sometimes there's other fish in the sea. 8:15 a.m. Central. Jim and Claude board the private jet for the 8:30 a.m. flight, the 8:50 a.m. flight to Louisville after 2.5 days in Concord. Both Jim and Claude are ready to leave New Hampshire behind. Jim's plan was to attend a healthcare lecture by Hillary Clinton on the University Hotel, while Claude is back at the hotel. The next day, they would leave for New Orleans, where Jim would have a dinner keynote with Louisiana Senator Bro. 8:50 a.m. The private plane taxis down the runway and takes off from Concord, New Hampshire, on the way to Louisville, Kentucky. At 8:35 a.m. Central. Meanwhile, back at Texas Tech, JR is in government class, where Friedrich McKay is lecturing on behalf of Jack Fitzmiller, who is presenting yet another academic paper in Louisville, Kentucky, with hopes of running into Hillary Clinton. 11 a.m. Eastern. Jim and Claude arrive in Louisville, Kentucky. A Chrysler van leads them to take them to the Crown Plaza Hotel. Sadly, the Hilton garden where the First Lady that day was booked, as well as the Ramada. So Jim settles for what he calls the third best, the Ramada. 1 p.m. West Hall. JR is taking his statistics test at the Pass Center, and he is slogging up through. 5 p.m. Eastern. Jim is in the auditorium of the University of Louisville Medical School, listening to Hillary Clinton talk about health care. 5 p.m. Central. JR picks up Sharon to go to Clark and Chicken, not far from campus. "How was your day?" Sharon asked. "Okay," JR said. "Don't give me okay." "Now what's going on, JR?" "You're down about something." "All right, then I'll tell you. I'm mad." Plus, I saw Karen walking hand in hand with Brad today outside the West Hall when I just finished statistics test. Let her go, JR. She's not worth it. Okay, fine, maybe. I'm a little scared, too. Sharp invested all this time in the woman that I believe was my princess, and she ends up befriending a toad like Brad. You're the honorable cowboy next to him. What is he? That just some glorified number cruncher ferret. 9:40 a.m. Central. Sharon says goodbye to JR, and he heads back to Gordon Hall. Kevin McDonald informed JR that next Monday night he will be leaving. He will be having a game against Kansas University. Okay. October 13th. 5:45 a.m. Jim's private jet taxis down the runway and takes off for Boston, Massachusetts. He heard that Greg and Nora would meet him in New York. 7 a.m. At McDonald's, JR is having breakfast with Kevin McDonald. JR dumped this girl already. Seems to me she's not for you, Kevin said. I know, JR said. I was walking out of the library and I saw her talking to Brad. I realized they're friends, but I suspect something. She ain't the right one for you, Kevin said. 8 a.m. In government class, Frederick McKay is giving the exam review instead of Jack Smithmiller, who is presenting one more academic paper at the John F. Kennedy School of Government on Medicare and universal health care. 11 a.m. Eastern. Jim is speaking at the Harvard Business School about managerial innovation in the energy and commodities industries. He gets some applause by some of the students there. At the same time, in Midland, Elizabeth Swain is going through another chemotherapy session. 2:50 p.m. JR emerges from statistics class, tired and dejected. Today, other than government classes, he was just slogging along. He'd even skipped lunch at the scripting club, which was not like him. He walks across the campus of people towards Gordon Hall. He then goes to his room. Kevin McDonald was there. Bad day, Kevin said. What else is new? JR said. Don't tell me this has something to do with Brad and Karen. No, it's just Spanish and math. I can't wait to go home to Swainfield this weekend. 3 p.m. Eastern. Jim is speaking at the John F. Kennedy School of Government. He spoke about how John F. Kennedy gave his generation some hope. And he stated he felt that Bill Clinton could possibly return that hope that had been lost in the Vietnam War and the recession stagflation of the 1970s. 4:10 p.m. Eastern. Jim's private jet takes off, bound from Boston to New York City, where he would be met by Greg and Norma Sanders. Edward stayed at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel before leaving tomorrow afternoon for Oxford. 5 p.m. Eastern. Jim's plane arrives in New York City at JFK Airport. Greg and Norma Sanders meet him with many limousine drivers. With a minivan and limousine driver. He's then taken directly to the Waldorf Astoria. 6 p.m. Eastern. Meanwhile, at the Waldorf Astoria, Jim orders Jack Daniels for room service. He orders a flask for tonight and another flask to take before getting on the plane to go to Oxford. 10:10 p.m. Eastern. Jim arrives back at the hotel suite at the Waldorf Astoria. He brings in a model with him named Brittany Lake that he had asked to stay the night. This woman was trying to get onto Hearts of Fire in Washington, D.C. And perhaps Bill Clinton's assistant, Miss Lake, agrees to spend the night with Jim. Okay. October 14th passed quietly. At 3 a.m. BST, the private jet lands in Oxford, and Jim, Greg, and Norma step into a 1992 Ford Fiesta chartered by Taylor Hitchens, the British driver for financier and professor Rupert Ramsay, who taught at Oxford University over the summer. But now he is renting his mansion out in the fall and winter because, in addition to being a precious metals and real estate financier, he teaches 2 nights a week at the University of Oklahoma in Norman, Oklahoma. 3:05 a.m. BS